So obviously he's got two approaches. I'm going to start in 5 years from now, because I think that's going to be, I think what he's going to do in 5 years once he inherits all that equity should determine what he does leading up to that point. Because it sounds like his son doesn't have any real estate experience at all. And so he can use those 5 years to, prepare to inherit that $1.5 million worth of equity that he can leverage to use however he pleases. And so obviously at that point, he can either take that money and passively invest it, or he can be an active investor. It sounds, based off of this question, that his son wants to
take what money? The
equity in 5 years.
Okay, so do some sort of cash out refinance or something, and take that and passively or actively invest it.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Those are kind of his two options. So he can do the cash out refi or home equity line of credit, depending on which approach they want to take. Since he's kind of implying that his son wants to be more hands-on, I'm going to go with the assumption that passive investing wouldn't be something he's interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously he could either buy more single-family residences, or maybe get in a smaller multifamily, or he could take that money and buy one large apartment building. Since we're apartment investors, and we have a lot of advice on investing in apartments, that'd be the route that I would recommend taking. So if he's going to be investing in an apartment building in 5 years from now, and he has no experience in real estate, then he needs to start getting that experience. So obviously he's going to start managing these 10 properties, which I would recommend you do, even if the salary is only going to be $20,000 per year.
Or zero salary.
Yeah, or for free.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
Because you're going to get the experience of understanding how it is to actually manage single family properties.
Yeah, he's probably not worth $20,000. If he does no experience, probably not worth $20,000 to manage properties, because he's probably more of a liability than an asset. So really, it should be for free.
Exactly. We had a kind of a back and forth conversation, me and Peter, and he was mentioning how he might have a little bit of hard time selling the 10% idea to his parents, because they can just get someone else that's more experienced and pay them less than that.
Oh, you talked to this listener.
We just on email. We had a back and forth conversation.
Oh, really? All right.
Just to kind of clarify a couple of points.
Okay.
And so, as he's managing those 10 single family properties, and before he is able to inherit that money to buy the apartment, you probably should get some experience managing an apartment complex, or at least something that's not a single family property, so you can have a, because obviously it's different managing a single family versus an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple of ideas. And I kind of mentioned this because this is what my property manager does, and so I'm kind of taking his approach. But basically what he did is he also wanted to prepare to manage an apartment for his own personal business. And so what he started doing is he went on Craigslist and Zillow and apartments.com and places like that, and found the rental listings that were listed by owners, not property managers, but actual owners who are looking for renters. And instead of reaching out and asking to rent, or instead of asking to buy, because he didn't have the capital or the experience at the time to buy those larger properties, he just asked if he could become the property manager. And his in would be, hey, I know you had this need right now. Obviously your unit is vacant. I'm not sure exactly how he did this, but basically he fulfilled that need and used that as leverage to become the property manager.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did that, once he signed the contract, he put a clause in there that said, if you or when you decide to sell the property, I basically get dibs on buying it. Now, again, I know we talked about this before. We're not sure exactly how that would work, because what if the owner just jacks up the price to $10 million? It's like, all right, you want to buy it at $10 million? But that way, I thought for this specific strategy, it'd be ideal, because if he's going to inherit all that money in 5 years, if he starts building up that portfolio of clients,
mm-hmm.
now not only is he going to get that experience of managing smaller multifamilies and eventually working up to larger apartment buildings, but he'll also have the opportunity to buy a property later on down the road. And the timing that might not be perfect, but if he has 20, 30, 40 clients at that point in time, when he inherits all that money, around maybe a couple of months or to a year afterwards, one of those owners might come to him and say, hey, I'm ready to sell my property. Mm-hmm. And he can be like, boom, I've got all this equity. Let's do a deal. As opposed to having to save up money from other avenues and having to wait further along, wait further down the line, or raise money from someone else. So that was strategy number one. Become a managed properties, put a clause in there that you buy it when they're ready to sell it. And when they're ready to sell, have the money and the experience that right there ready to go.
Okay.
And then the second idea that I came up with, and this is a little bit more non-real estate related, and it kind of depends on what what his interests are, because he might not like managing properties. He might not enjoy it. It sounds like he's pretty handy. And I know that everyone's always out there looking for a handyman or a contractor. And so in combination with his property management company, or instead of being a property manager, he could always follow the exact same approach, but be a maintenance person instead. And so either start a contracting company alongside with his property manager, because obviously if you're working with a bunch of real estate investors and you're managing properties, they're going to need work done. Mm-hmm. Or if you just don't like it, you can kind of completely forego any of that and just start a whole brand new business of being a contractor. Because again, everyone's always looking for a reliable contractor.